Tackle. It is the 24th of November 2021, tarehe 24 mwezi wa 11 mwaka 2021. Natumai kwamba umeamka salama na uko vizuri na uko tayari kupambana na siku yako kuweza kutackle siku ya leo. It's a Siasa Wednesday of the 24th November 2021 na tuko na mheshimiwa James Omingo Magara ambaye alikuwa mbunge wa South Mugirango na pia leo yeye pia ni treasurer, national treasurer UDA party. I think so tuko na yeye leo. Poleni kidogo tumechelewa lakini mambo ni hivyo. Tunaanza kidogo kama mheshimiwa alipotea njia kidogo lakini amefika, yuko hapa tayari. Kwa hivyo tutaenda kuzungumza kwenye siasa ya leo. Kama kuna swali yote please send it either to my inbox or you can send it to the comment section so that we can have this conversation together. It's the 24th of November 2021. Kama kawaida, please when you join in, like, when you like, we get to know that you're watching us, and after that, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch broadcast. This is a Tackle this Siasa Wednesday of the 25th November 2021 and it begins now. Kama kawaida, pia lazima tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe. Alafu tukirudi anakuja kuona salamu ni za nani hapa. Aya, asante mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you, glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity to be alive. We thank you for this conversation that we are about to have made edify the fabric of this country. We pray, trusting and believing. Amen and amen. Aya, good morning to you, Elvis QW na kuona Kipita Itas. Good morning, Alex Kor Rocky. Good morning, Kwech Baba Fidel. Good morning, Musa Tafa. Good morning to you, Livingstone Ola Kironi. Good morning, Kokoi Plomeri. Good morning to you, my brother Sholim Kibet Benachi. Top fan here. Thanks for the badge. Asante sana. Kipto Ngeno ndani. Asante Karikuwa Masi niko ndani. Great. Asante sana. Musa Tafa representing Dallas, Texas. Thank you so much, other guys from Dallas, Texas. Moses Kamau. A very good morning from Moiben. Asante sana. Moses Kamau. Titus Kemboy na kuona. Ross Olalo, good morning members, we thank God for the new day. Good morning to my brother Mark Chirchid. Good morning bro, falling from Chicago. Good to see you my brother. Mepotea sana. Lakini asante Collins Kibet, Moiben side gani ndugu? Mimi niko hapa Washington State. Washington. Tafuta nene. Julius Bunge, good morning. Wangai Carlos, a very good morning from the live from the CBD. Paris Cheroti, good morning team. Good morning. Collins Kibet watching live from Washington State. Yamune Bitoka. Asante sana Collins, good to see you. Amon Kibet tuned in from CC. Bo Samuel Olo tuned in from Kisumu County. Nani asema tupata TV. Asante Chabai Vincent, ready to be informed. Asante sana. Kama kuna swali yote please send it in the comment section. Alafu basi tunaweza kuingia kazi haraka upesi. Good morning to you mheshimiwa.
Morning. How are you? I'm happy to be here. I got my direction wrong. Of course, coupled with traffic, but we're here.
So the traffic today was not very friendly.
Fix the issues of traffic once and for all.
Yeah. At your one?
But well, I can't complain, and I'm glad to be here for the first time.
Karibu sana, it's your first time when you tackle. So maybe I'll let you first of all introduce yourself to the tacklers.
My name is Omingo Magara. I used to be member of Parliament South Mugirango, and currently I'm the National Treasurer of the UDA Party, National Treasurer of UDA Party, and aspiring Governor Kisii County.
Oh, you're an aspiring governor. James Omingo Magara, Mheshimiwa is an aspiring governor, Kisii County. It's under the UDA ticket.
UDA ticket.
Under UDA ticket. But I told you had a capacity.
Are you saying that you can be national treasurer?
Okay, Siasa squeezy. See what's happening right now in the political scene. Yes. Everyone is, the legs are on one side, the other, like what's happening in Jubilee.
Some of us have made our mind, and I think our mind is formed. We know what we want. We want to go, and that's where we are in the UDA party and the hustle movement. Of course, the bottom-up economic approach in terms of telling Kenyans they want to change the political, the economic, discussion from the political rhetoric that has got some slogans which sometimes don't make sense. We are saying it's empowerment of the people bottom up, in which case, therefore, that person who has not had a chance to grow, put money in the pocket, or whatever he's doing that is little, need to be boosted so that all of us can grow and get richer.
Okay. All right. You also had a party?
Yes, People's Democratic Party. Of course, it's a party that is still running, but I am now the National Treasurer of UDA, and of course, we change. I moved to UDA, but the party moves on. The party is not an individual organization. Far from what people always think, that when you register a party or a party is running, it's a public entity. The mistake we have had in the past is that people, when they say you associate with a particular party, or you are the party leader, for example, you then, therefore, they believe that you own it. That's a misconception. That's why we are crafted the Political Parties Act of 2007, where we say, therefore, detach political parties from individuals to make them entities where people can participate. I can assure you that the political party PDP is still running, and a different leadership, but it is not dissolved. I am now in the UDA because I'm convinced of the narrative that is flying today.
Okay.
And I did not own PDP. Okay. I was a founder member.
You are a member.
And, yes, a founder member. And therefore, you don't own when you form. You form and others run with it. At least I've done something that the people are running with.
All right. That's great to know. All right. So you're running on a UDA ticket for Kisii County. Mheshimiwa is running for Kisii County Governor. And the UDA ticket is the National Treasurer of UDA Party. Watu wa Kisii, ndio umesikia governor wenu yuko anakuja iko tayari.
Naomba tu kwa mkono kwa unyenyekevu kabisa, jaribu kuwapatia kazi, kumfanyia kazi. Na hii kazi nitawafanyia mwanzo wa kumwogopa Mungu. Makosa ambayo tunayafanya yale ni kwamba unaingia katika kazi na uangalie pale favor comes from. Tunaangalia around us how much we can acquire and keep to ourselves. We forget where we got our favor from. And indeed, all these officers, we hold them on trust for the people of the Republic of Kenya, and particularly the people of Kisii. I will give them service and create a difference. Our work, when I get to office, will differentiate us from them.
All right.
And it's not in my business to know what they did or they did not do, but what I do will count on what I stand for, and it will be like day and night, I believe, and so help me God.
All right. What's your vision then for the people of Kisii County? Because we've started from
if you think very carefully about the kind of nature of the Kisii nation, these are people who truly work extremely hard. If you want to know the Israelites of Kenya, they belong to the Kisii nation. These are people who work like bees. They do not depend on anybody for handouts and support on food provision or maybe doing their businesses and getting the issues fixed. It is they work on their own motion. In fact, you will find them working throughout the day and night, tough jobs, but they are resilient. Those are proper hustlers. In fact, in Kisii, if you were to translate hustler narrative, it is nyakweligeria mtafutaji mwenye kujitafutia bila kupewa. Na ni kweli ni kwamba Mkisii, our nature ni kwamba hatupendi kuombaomba. Because hata unaona mambo ya misaada hii, machakula hii haifikangi kwetu, na Mungu ametunaemesha na weather mzuri na tunajifanyia. Na ni kwamba hawa watu kila wanataka is to really touch and twitch them in terms of giving them a boost and showing them the way, they will run. What I intend to do for our community is we need to then empower those people who are hardworking, and now they will start working smart and putting money in their pocket. For example, there's a water challenge in Kisii, for instance. I can tell you, Bitok, if you go to Kisii, you will see several mkokoteni with the yellow plastic containers. What I want to see in my administration is the only yellow I want to see in Kisii is the yellow for UDA. The other yellow that carries water must be in the pipes for the people of Kisii to enjoy. Kisiis are resilient. If you realize how much they work and what the payback for their business is completely wanting. Look, for an example, a middleman who was a broker will come to Kisii direct and pay a standing tree of avocado, harvesting about 10,000 worth of fruits from that tree, but they will pay somebody maybe 1,000 or 2,000 shillings. They harvest everything except the branches and the leaves. Now, what are we saying? That person comes to Nairobi and sells an avocado that he buys for a shilling or two for about 20, 50 shillings. In fact, avocados could be bought in Nairobi as high as 10 shillings or to be 100 shillings. What am I saying? We will now create structures, systems of empowering people, for bulking centers, for people to bulk their products and be able to dictate and determine the price. We're talking about cottage industries, for instance. There are many things, like from that avocado, as a plant, I can tell you, we can extract quite a bit of it. For instance, you can squeeze avocado oil, very, very rich in terms of hair food. Then the byproduct can be used to feed the animals, dairy. We shall be circulating, and there be an ecosystem of sorts. We need to empower people that put money in their pockets by removing middlemen, and of course empowering them by just a little. I can tell you, extraction of avocado juice plant cannot be more expensive than 10 million shillings. In fact, the whole process is called backpacking. If you went to the eastern or go to where they are sourced, you can now empower people and put money in their pocket by adding value of the product. I'm looking at education sector, for example. ECD is devolved. I am imagining a situation where that farmer in Kisii does produce milk, and that milk is paid promptly on time and paid a price that is reasonable to give back the kind of sweat they're putting. Unfortunately, we don't have like hybrid breeds. Change the feeding protocol of animals, produce more milk, get the bulking centers in every sub-county, for example. When you bulk that milk, you have a small creamery, about 100 million Kenya shillings. You do a creamery, you package that milk for feeding the ICD children, so that the money circulates within the economy. And I can tell you, Kisii will be the Israel of Kenya in less than 5 years for the first term. And I believe in that because we have a resilient community. We want to then, not that we are going to do anything different, using the bottom-up approach. We are not going to change everything else to mean like we are starting afresh. Today, if you want to improve the breed of animals within the farm, it will take a year to change that animal by changing the feeding protocol, which is very expensive today. And you can understand why we have the inputs of agricultural inputs are very expensive. In fact, solve that problem. You plant also sunflower, which you also extract oil, and the byproduct of that sunflower feeds our cows. The cost of production will go low, people will be paid on time, and then we shall add value within the community, and we shall create jobs for our people. The other thing that I want to target seriously is the ICT hubs. You know, we are advantaged like Kenya. We in the social media, where I think we are the most active in social media, but we don't turn money to our people. Most of the social media connections we do is either by pleasure and disappointingly betting. I want to open up a ICT hub in every county to have our young people that center equipped for them to do business outsourcing. For example, in America, we have people sleeping when we are at work. We can be taking orders on behalf of those companies, international companies, who will be paying us in dollars. And that is what I want to do. People will be employed, create jobs using the ICT. We'll create young guys who really are brilliant in ICT. And luckily, we communicate in English, and English is a very popular communication media worldwide. I am sure with the ICT hubs, Kisii will be a different place to be. And as I said, our work would differentiate
you from the rest. So you're bringing Israel to Kisii, or you're taking Kisii to Israel?
No, we're bringing Israel to Kenya via Kisii County.
Okay, all right. There's a question for you here. Now that you've started from Kisii, or your aspiration for Kisii, from Omomisonari Nyamari. Asema aspiring Mpinja Ribachate constituency. We are having a challenge with water. The Suneka Airport. What is his plan on this? Water and Suneka Airport.
Honestly, as I said, that was the first thing I talked about, the yellow jerrycans. It is a shame. Betalk. Someone cracked a joke that in Kisii, it's just like that's where God's bathroom is. Every time they turn the tap, Kisii rains. And you find in a short while after the rains, people are on cocotanis, and our young girls strike to go and fetch water, compromising them from finishing their homeworks in time, and maybe fetching water late for them to be exposed to some those predators who kind of waylay them to misuse and abuse them. So it's a shame that we, even through water harvesting alone, without necessarily going to do the big dams. And Kigati water project is ongoing. We thank God that I think it's all in progress. But I'm sure we have also other projects like River Gucha, which flows to Lake Victoria. If you pump that water up and a small little treatment plant, you distribute all the entire Gucha and even to Migori, and even sell that water. It's basically a small thing, but either we are reluctant, or we don't mean well, or some jobs are too difficult for others. So it's unfortunate that we still have people going to fetch water with the kind of rains we have. There's a solution. Instead of perhaps even going to groundwater, it's a different matter, because groundwater sometimes you may not be able to sense exactly how much it could be, but you can. What you see is what you get. We can create tanks. We do have what we call water harvesting, tanks. Every home or school need to have a tank. There's no reason why you find secondary school children boys and girls carrying jerrycans to pick water, and this is what we must address. And it is a solution that can be done, because we are not in northeastern where we kind of wait forever. A child is born and never see rain up to about 5 years. So we have that resource that we need to use for the benefit of our people. And I can tell you that will change our people's lives. Suneka airstrip, it has been like a song forever. When we were in Parliament, it was resolved, funds were allocated. The other day, you find that either people don't mean what they do. I am told the contractor was on site and money was being released in trickles, but I think it's a very, very small project. The only thing is the leadership of our county, for example, like members of parliament, what we said it need to be completed so that we can actually even ship our products direct to Nairobi, for example, for export market. And then the Kisii can be very good for horticulture. I'm giving you one example. The manogos and sagas that people eat in US. If Suneka strip was complete, and I believe it will be completed, but I think that will be about my first year, 100 days in office. Suneka's airstrip must be completed. I mean, there's no reason why we can't have that for light aircrafts. If you imagine the kind of vegetables we produce, a horticultural thing, the mama from Magena market, she actually stuffs a bag full of manogo greens to sell for about 300 shillings, which is sold elsewhere at 3,000 shillings. Why? They are desperate, it's perishable. It must be sold now, or you give it away, or goes to waste. So instead of wasting it, just give away for a song. I'm saying we need to also even have cooling plants for collection center. Alternatively, a dryer for the vegetables, which you can then pack and sell at a handsome price. And some of these things require small money, big impact. That will be done in my administration.
Alright. Okay. Haya, naona kuna watu wako pia wamefika pale YouTube kidogo. Nimeona Mungu anaitwa nani hapa? David, good morning GB Leongo. Tumengoja sana, poleni tumechelewa kidogo. Davis Kelman, my neighbor at El Merijo, a hero and a gentleman. Omingo Magara, karibu tuko tackle. We love you.
Thank you so much. That's my neighbor in diaspora Ngatarunga, El Merijo, yes.
I saw what you're doing. I saw what you're doing with cows as well.
That is what I was.
Let's talk about.
That's what I'm transforming. Let's
talk about that first. What is that you're doing in?
Can I give you?
I would like to come and do a cover
story.
Yes.
I am reliable. I've learned that people with short bones like mine, they never had enough milk to drink. And that's why I know Bitok, you are taller than me. If you look at the Netherlands guys,
Because of milk.
their bones are longer. The Chinese have got no culture of taking milk. That's how short they are. But milk actually contributes
If
a
only you
lot
had milk, you
to
could be
brain. I'll be sharper than I am today. Milk contributes a lot to development of bones and the brains at a younger age. It is, something that I love doing at school, and of course used to dairy cows or rather animals are the ones which my father used to pay school fees for us. And at high school I did agriculture, but of course I managed commercial after I lost my political office in 2010. But I can tell you that is what I want to transform to Kisii. I'm sitting on 1 acre, and except for now the tough times of Corona, and of course those who are interested in milk, they have actually messed the milk prices, and of course the inputs are almost triple what we used to buy, and therefore you can't make money. Farmers are struggling. But in a normal environment and in a existing system that works, that we need to access our inputs at reasonable price, concessional or maybe subsidized by the government, good seed or semen, for example, we can feed this country. Do you know there's a shortfall about 70% of milk? We don't have sufficient milk in this country. But yet, we cannot encourage our farmers. What we are doing, some people are doing, is importing imported milk sometimes when the situation is harsh. What I want to do, that I'm doing in Wataronga, is part of the things I want to do as a demonstrated farm in Kisii. And as I said, you're looking for Canaan, you'll find Canaan in Kisii. That too will be part of the milk and honey environment, where we shall transform small-scale farmers to farm smart and give them a structured market access to the product, add value to those products, and put money in people's pockets. We talk it's doable, and I'm a student of finance and economics. I know it can work. It has worked. I have an example that at least before the things went south, we were producing about 1,100 liters per day from 1 acre.
1,100 liters a day.
Per day in 1 acre. In a dry area like this.
Wow.
That, of course, that time I think it was from 2019, 2020, the student was good. But now our inputs have gone about triple. And you can understand why maize jam can cost 30 shillings per kilo when we are some farmers, crying to get the market, the cereals sold to the millers. So there's a total disconnect. You are buying a milk from a producer at 27, 30 shillings, and you're selling a half a liter at 110. Well, you put your manufactured yogurt.
It doesn't make sense.
It makes sense, and it does make sense, and that's how people are being exploited. This is a gap we want to reduce and put humanity and a smile on every Kenyan, not a few. I can tell you, it is a shame, that you will find the processors dictating the price of milk,
of raw milk,
right? And they don't produce.
Yes.
And therefore, this is the only product you are selling that the buyer tells you what they're buying it at. It is not right. It is because, again, somebody someplace deliberately killed the cooperative sector. If people are connected together, and I said, like your balloting center, which dictates the terms, and you wait for your price for your time to get the right price, you can say, today I'm selling my product at 10, 40 bob or 50, take it or leave it. But if you not even a cooling tank where you can put the milk, please, you can even beg those guys, big sharks, to come and take it for a song. Please come, otherwise I'll lose. What we're saying, we must twitch that, change the paradigm, the reasoning that our people must be given that face of a human face, that they also smile to continue doing it. Why do you think people are running away from agriculture? It's because it's not paying. Not that it doesn't pay, it's just that the brokers are too many on the way, and the margins are only in favor of those ones, the capital owners. The producers are suffering. But I can tell you, if we did that and replicated back home, there's rain, there will be sunflower, there will be maize, of course, there will be husks from avocado that produce for the cows. we will be having plenty of milk in Kisii to be able to move along in a short while. We shall start being taller than
We love tall
because of
Kisii.
milk, provision of milk for our young children.
We love tall citizens from Kisii. Now, I'd want to know, now that you've talked something about, you mentioned on factors of production in dairy. You like you're saying, your production is like quite optimum in Rongai, where less goes on. We don't see much farming. We don't see maize farming, or you could say you could get byproducts from the farm.
Yes, yes.
How have you been able to manage that?
Truly, well, I'm telling you, it's possible because we import. 2010, when we had good rains, 2013, of course, we had good rains, and we were almost like we broke even the first 2 years. Unfortunately, of course, of the harsh conditions and changes in terms of the climate, and of course, unpredictable prices, fluctuation in our inputs, we actually are struggling because we import almost everything from out there, Nakuru and Eldoret. So I can tell you, if I was in Eldoret, I wouldn't even think of doing anything else except feeding Kenyans. But how do I feed the Kenyans? And particularly when you find that you produced enough, instead of those ones, and I'm talking about the trickle-down effect. Yes. You are depending on somebody up there to know your pain, and they think of harvesting that milk after production by drying it. They don't care because they didn't have a sweat. They'll buy it from you when they want it at whatever price they want it. So we're saying, if we could do that, like in Eldoret, Nakuru, for example, and Kisii, how our farmers produce more than they need. Somewhere, if trickle-down effect was working, somebody should have given us a KCC equivalent that would dry milk during the overflow season to store it for a rainy day. Unfortunately, you've seen farmers, when the rains are sufficient, your farmers who are pouring milk in the streets.
Yes.
It's a taboo, like in Kalenjin land, I don't know, as I'm told.
It is
to waste milk. I mean, you can do anything else, but don't
touch milk.
Don't touch milk. It was happening. And let me ask you, if a neighbor saw you pouring that milk, would they be motivated to go into farming? They'll run away from you.
Yes,
so what we're saying is, the environment we created has actually made people suffer to the extent that they run away from farming, not because it's bad, but it's not lucrative, and those people who want to make margins from us farmers, they're in a cartel sort of, and they dictate what price it is. The other day, I was receiving calls from about 3-4 manufacturers asking for me to supply milk. I said, how do I supply milk to you when the inputs have gone to double or 3 times what it was to buy, and you want to still pay what you're paying in 2017? Let alone the cost of fuel, which has gone up, because we also use electricity and power connectivities. The power rates are very high. Yes. So you're paying 17, you want me to kill. So what you are saying, you want to extract the blood out of my vessels. It doesn't make sense. What I'm saying, we must truly think. And I told you when I started, if we work with the fear of God, remember, we talk, even the Bible told us, please take enough for the day like manna. Some of us have taken
more than
enough for you are today, you are tomorrow, and 70 decades, even when you are not here. At the expense of
and
who?
Even taken for other people.
Yes, at the expense of who? Your neighbor who can't have it. Remember, the manna that Moses was told to tell the people to pick. If you took more than your share portion, it will go to waste. And that's why you see some of these monies, when you take without a fear of God, ina baraka boss, ina baraka.
Inarudi inakukula.
No, inakukula. Ile kuoza, magonjwa mengine haiponeki, watoto shule hawasikii, umefuza watoto na pesa ya mama ule alikuwa anakanyaga chini. If we also took biblical teachings and believe in what the Bible tells us, I think this corruption shouldn't even be in courts today.
Yeah.
People will not be in courts for corruption.
On the moral
Bible says, the moral question is what we worry about. But since it's not fashionable that you want to live your
this is we ask, is it illegal?
No.
They don't care about the
that's
moral.
the problem, and we are the examples.
Yes.
As leadership, and I must confess to Kenyans that we have let Kenyans down as leadership. And I must say this, show me how you got in our operation and tap your back. But indeed, if you just you do it and you expect other people not to do, young graduates are living in college today.
Yes.
We talk. And they want to drive a VX, V8, year one, just because it's so easy to do that. And how easy is it? It cut corners. Be an entrepreneur at the expense. What is being sold at 100 shillings, you sell at 10,000, and then you buy your VX in a day. So and this, as I said, it starts from the head. The leadership rods from the fish rods from the head. And I'm saying this with tremendous respect. I respect the leadership of this country and my president. But you can imagine a country where, Bitok, you'll be having a free for all, that the court adjudicates that you pay me my money, and you say, "Bani uta do what?" So what will happen? There'll be anarchy. Instead of going to court now, I'll come to Bitok and chop your head, because if I want to go, I can't get my because Bitok will say, I'm vigilant to the law, and I can disobey court orders. So what I'm saying here is, it is the leadership that has failed our people. And our people are extremely hardworking. We have let down Kenyans. And when I say that, I mean I am not exempted from it, because I'm also my flaws. But indeed, that moral question, it must come out of you and say, if you have this entrust for the old woman of Kisii, surely you consume or you don't pay bursary for a widowed mother.
Sad.
No, it's sad.
All right, and talking about that, there's something you're now that we are sounding very inspirational. There's something I read about you, that you were elected while you were in ICU, an hospital bed. Yes. I would want to hear that story before I get back to the questions that I'm seeing here. How did that happen?
We talk. God rest my elder brother Enoch, my senior brother, rest his soul, eternal peace. He passed on in 2000 October. I was working in the Ministry of Finance and the Kenya Revenue Authority, and I was a senior man out there. They said, "Mingo, you must come out and take over this seat." I said, "No." Well, they insisted I must come out, and of course I did, because my brother had said, we did that for 2.5 years, and the work was impeccable, to be honest. And he was a fiery young man. So I didn't like it, but then I was compelled to. My father said, "Mwanaume ni kunyoroshana." My mother did not like it. She was told, "Hapana, mwanaume anapigwa mshale kutoka kwa kifua, sio mgongo kitoroka." So I went in. I thanked the MUGIRANGO people, because for sure they delivered their promise. When I took over my brother, of course, I inherited this party, Ford Kenya. But remember, that was during the KANU heyday. You know,
when KANU was KANU.
Yes, Baba na Mama. Tingisa. If you tingisa, like, unfortunately, Ford Kenya's slogan was, Ford Kenya Simba with 2 fingers. 2 fingers. Now, Mzee Boy came one point in time at Etago and said, "Lakini mbona naona hii
vitole mbili
ilikata moja na baki moja ya gano." So they said hapa ni mbili. In fact, he didn't come back. After driving to Etago, he went to Transmara and flew away. The people had resolved. Our people had a resolve. And I can tell you, we were the first constituency in the Republic of Kenya which took on Moi and won against Moi, after all the government machinery were in South MUGIRANGO. But what happened therefore is, when they realized we were winning these elections, which of course we won, that time of course rigging was key, but people committed themselves. In fact, guys were carrying ballot boxes to the tallying center at the common tallying center called Nyamarambe. Young men who had resolved, after finishing voting, they escorted ballot boxes tied with the chains on their waists to Nyamarambe. But when they realized we were losing, I had to be killed. I was attacked and hit so hard and left to die. In fact, this is not a beauty mark.
Wow.
This is not a beauty mark. This is a machete that was supposed to land on my head, and of course it did. Of course, they had struck my head with a machete. And this one I shielded. So the voting day, this happened because I had removed all the posters. Never knew who it was. and so just oversee how the voting was going on. So somebody there said that is an enemy who is coming to West Omingo's votes. But technically what the truth was, they wanted me dead, killed by my own people. So of course that's the only way they would come out of it. And this was one of Kano operatives. I won't mention names here because she's still alive. They hit us and my late brother. They chased us from the polling station where we are actually seeing how voting was going on. Or downstream towards River Gucha, they almost wanted to shoot the tires of the car so we can roll down into River Gucha so it can only be an accident, a normal accident. But my driver panicked when they saw guys flying from behind with a government Range Land Rover. So we rolled. And we're rolling, of course, with the injuries all over. We ran and they landed on us with sticks and machete. That's how I got this injury. But at least somebody who recognized me shouted back, son, and we are killing Omingo, our candidate. That's how I was rescued from there, by God's grace, and my late brother. So we went to Tapaga. I was in a theater table as the elections were the results were being announced. People watched the elections on my behalf, and they signed my results by ensuring that I was declared a winner when I was in ICU. From Tabaka, I now slipped to Aga Khan Hospital, Nairobi, where I recovered. Of course, I'm the only member of parliament again who went with the handcuff in parliament. There's like my colleague, Moroto, who came from the other side of Pokot. I think
Samuel Moroto.
Moroto. We were like a judge at the same time we came in Kanu, but he was walking straight, but my hand was had a plaster on it. So I thank the people of Kisii. When the Kisii make a resolve, please don't dare them. They know what they want, and I believe, we are also very fairly straightforward people. They committed themselves, and the Kanu was beaten at their own game. They wanted to kill me so they can force another by-election because they knew I was taking this thing. I had taken this thing, of course. That's my story.
All right, okay. That's quite deep. Pongezi sana for standing in.
Ni neema ya Mungu. So far that is
I would want to ask. So you were attacked with your brother.
We were together in my younger brother now. My elder brother died, the one I followed. I was with my younger brother, who was also my driver in the cars where we were seeing this. So he was also hit with a big boulder here, stone, that almost cracked his skull. So we went. You can imagine. I thank God for giving my mother grace. My father is now late. Of course, he was alive at that time. He gave my mother grace because imagine he has lost a son a year, 2 months earlier. The other one, who is supposed to be a member of parliament, is going to be elected now posthumously, almost. And the other younger one is also in the same place. I was actually in the ICU. I didn't know what was happening. So I think, as I said, so far, it's God grace has brought me as far. And I think, we talk, I have unfinished business. And a part of my finished business God has given me grace and talent to do is actually serving my people of Kisii. By God's grace, it shall be different.
Amen. All right. Okay. Hata nione hapa wangona pia wada unasemaje. David Nyatit, the chief democracy prefect, democracy goes beyond elections and parties and also involves the economic growth of the electorate. What did the Honorable Governor do at the Center for Multi-Party Democracy? Were you at the Center of Multi-Party Democracy? Yes, that's a question for you from David.
Yes, that is when, and again, I've stood my ground. As I was as chairman of Center for Multi-Party Democracy, courtesy of me being a member or party leader of People's Democratic Party. 2017 is when parties were being, cannibalized and shipped into a single basket and crushed, including for people. I refused. I said, this is not my party. It is not my property. People suffered and died because of multipartyism. Let parties die naturally, but we don't want to fold them. So we didn't fold the party against all odds. And of course, in that party went to elections. Again, independent institution, which gave us 2 members of parliament and 14 MCAs. This is not a mean achievement, particularly when not getting funding from government. And so, one, I am a defender of multi-party because I know. Actually, my brother died in a mysterious road accident when he was opposing those ones who were oppressing the one-party rule and the lack of democratic space in our country. I think it was sacrificed through that, and that's history, and God rest his soul, eternal peace. So I'm a believer in everybody getting their space. In the Center for Democracy, we did build capacity to train women and young people to access justice and leadership. Indeed, during our time, so many members of County Assembly were elected, and some were nominated because we told them, take position in political parties. Some of them were nominated because we told them, the only way you can do this as young people, try to show your face and create your space so that it's not a token be given to you, but get it to yourself. And I think we succeeded in that. And that's the time also when I was a chairman, when we had post-election violence. And we had to do a lot of discussions that, let me say this, politics is not about hatred, or it's not about when you lose because somebody has gained. We had to change this paradigm, the thinking that let us now engage on issue-based politics. That is why I'm glad UDA we're saying we are not going to talk about crossing to a river to whichever area, or talk about slogans which are saying earthquake or hurricane or tsunami. We're saying now it's about economic empowerment of people. Gladly, that is how this discussion now in this country. Every presidential candidate is actually talking about the economy. So we said, if therefore we carry people and carry guns and bows and arrows, all of us are going to be blind. So we had to record in the warring factions. We had engagements. We could bring SGs or political parties, both. That was then NAC and the Jubilee and the other faction to the table to discuss, and we did succeed in brokering peace, and of course that led to the issues of Agenda 4 coming in. So what we're saying here is, it is good to, when you're given a slot, live with it. Remember, we forget too quickly. If people died and lost lives for purpose of getting multipartism, why would you want to kill it for us all? Let parties die naturally. People must be able to express themselves. And why sometimes parties don't grow quickly is that we grow them for a particular objective, and because they're not ideologically connected, they die after elections. And maybe the other thing that happens is we are not loyal to our parties, because parties don't reward effort with members who have contributed to them. It's just similar to what's happening today. We fought for liberation and freedom and independence. Today, our people from Africa are actually taking themselves to slavery in Europe. That's the iron of life. So we forget too soon where we have come from, and they want to roll back the tape. That's what I'm seeing also today. We clamored for a constitutional reform. Today we want to fold back the gains by bringing in judiciary, ombudsman, micromanaging the executive, parliament being managed from Bunge, executive managing parliament through ministers. This is what we ran away from. We forget too soon, and we keep on trying and thinking that there is something that will work for me. The thing is, some of us, when we look at what's happening today, you say, it's not favoring me today, change it to favor me. When the scenario changes, you want to also reverse. We will be chasing our own tail. Let us submit to the constitutional provisions of this country, practice it, address the mischiefs much later. So I believe in democratization, constitutionalism, and of course the rule of law. That is above all what we all Kenyans aspire to do. In my other life, I also became a chairman of Kenyatta International Convention Center, Cottage Kenyatta and William Ruto in 2014 to 17. And that's when we did a lot of things. We talk, if you give me something, I do my best. And of course, I said, with the fear of God, things work. That is the first time in 1 year we did reckon conferences that have now been had in Africa and in Kenya. For example, we did UNCTAD. Where Kitui was Secretary General. We did TICAD, which was done in Africa for the second time, in Kenya for the first time. WTO, World Trade Organization, was done in Africa for the first time, and the first time in Kenya. We did a Obama visit for the first time here. We did Pope's visit to Kenya, and many others I cannot enumerate. So sometimes when you're given something, and you have your eyes on the ball, you deliver. And again, you also walk with your head high. You remember also was a chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of the Republic of Kenya. That's the first time Parliament can prosecute two financial year reports in 1 year. It has never happened. It won't happen again today. You touch it, by God's grace, you go. And you know, leave a mark. Sometimes I wonder, what will some of us be remembered for? So much money you've stolen? The answer is no. It's how many lives you've touched. And what footprints you did that people can follow. There's some footprints you do, even if they're so visible, nobody wants to walk on them because they are morally not right.
All right. Oh, okay. That's powerful from you. Now, David, I think your question has been answered. Davis Kelman is asking, Mwesh, considering the massive borrowing of Uru's administration, where do we hope to get money to finance the ambitious promises made by UDA?
Beautiful. Simple. Basic. When the electricity connectivity was done by the administration of Administration Ruto, actually they changed the model. Do you know, we may not, the only challenge is that the burden will be too high to pay. But I can tell you, if you change the economic model and grow people, say in 1 year to double the jobs which we can do by a small farmer. I want to give farming because that's my flagship thing. By a farmer who was having one worker and he has now 2-3 cows, he's employing another and paying them. In perhaps give support for those ones at the lower level, bring them the tax paying bracket. I can tell you the multiplier effect, we will have it. And let me tell you, there's so much money here. If truly the president says we are losing money through graft,
2 billion a day.
I am wondering why those he knows where this is going through. I'm wondering why those holes have not been plugged. I believe we can plug them so that that money can be taken. But that's not what I'm saying. The money we have today, changing the model and reducing the bureaucracy of trickle down effect, where it comes from the ministry, the provinces, to the other branches, up to the grassroots. That's how wastage is actually witnessed. That money come direct, employ it cheaply, of course, little money, maximum impact. And we shall remove the wastage that we are seeing. If we stop wastage, which I'm sure we can as a student of finance, we are told that other than that 2 billion shillings, about 30% of our budget goes to graft. If we stop that avenue, and I believe we are willing not to put auction our Kenyan population into debt for perpetuity, we can re-engineer within ourselves, create a larger tax base by empowering the people at the bottom to make them taxpayers, plug the holes or the loopholes and leakages on revenue, of expenditure, get value for money, for example, and let's tighten the noose and make corruption a punitive thing. Please punish corruption. Don't tell us you're going to give us so and so result in 30 days, and a year down the line you are seeing young, small people, boys and girls who are, maybe starting families, they're being bundled out of office. I mean, really, a scapegoat.
An excuse for the bigger culprits.
Sorry?
Is it an excuse? It's a sacrifice for the bigger culprits?
Oh, certainly, of course. Sometimes we talk. Let me put an analogy that sometimes people say no stone will be left unturned. But if it's your weight, you can't carry your own weight. So you can sit on it, and for perpetuity, you cannot turn that stone. So if it touches you, it's too heavy. And I leave the rest to you.
No stone shall be left unturned.
And yet none is turned.
Yet none of them is turned. All right, David Gatti, to address the effect of economy on the electorate. Okay, I think there's a continuation of the question. Blessed Fang is asking, good morning, JB. Has Mwesh invested in any ICT project?
Well, the gentleman agrees that I am not a city guru, but I know what it can do. For example, in my farm, we have what I call a smart farm, smart farm, where you have a digital platform, which you then have a milker just keying in only the production. And I'm because this is what I'm comfortable in. Allow me to continue using cows. Yes. Don't call me Omingo Wangombe like they do. They forgot that I was a member of parliament once, a chairman of Public Health Committee, and I was assistant minister to Huru Mugai Kenyana then. Now they call me Omingo Wangombe. So, but anyway, no cows.
That's a good time.
So what to do? You after milking, you key in the milk produced into a program. If I am Netherlands or America that I'm watching the production of the day, I will know which cow has, because those cows have got tags or names. So I said this cow X has not been milked, or Y has cow B not been milked the quantity we used to milk yesterday. And you are given an excuse, it's because the cow was on heat, for instance, that's why she was restless. So you go back to the program, and they do show you that out of the semen straws, one has been deducted. So you confirm, yes, one cow was served because she was on heat. So we have that software. I wish I'm a consumer, but I can say this, that I've not invested. But when I was a minister for trade, we did open one youth group that was doing some bit of ICT, what do you call it, youth empowerment center, which is possible. Basically, and I said, it is an employment window which can be done. And it is a pair where you invest so little, and remember, providing a service is the best thing you can do. And like right now, COVID has also created an environment where those guys who business outsourcing or working from home, or remote working and remote feedbacks is key to our future lives, and that's why we need to capitalize on it. Sometimes when bad things happen to us, they're not necessarily negative. There are some positives we learn from our challenges, and of course, as we turn opportunity challenges, and they create an opportunity and make money out of it. I haven't invested personally. Of course, although I use ICT, but I have seen it work. And in this city, I don't have to do it. There are experts who can do that. It's a question of providing a budget from where I sit as a governor of Kisii County, and provide the first 100 days. Can I tell you, 50 million you can do a beautiful building, and there are too many people who are willing to support in terms of ITC infrastructure and replacement, and that can be done in my first 100 days when I get to office.
All right, first 100 days. Blessed Frank, you'd have your investment, you'd have your ICT center invested in. All right, there's a comment here from Dozar, and they're saying, Pongezi Honorable Maraga for Honorable Magara for the support and incentive by your party to the PWD, as people with disability, living with disability, and women to elected positions. I hope it will not stop at that. Now, there's a question for you from the same guy. What plans do you have as an administration to rejuvenate extension services in the agricultural sector?
Oh, wow, fantastic. But talk. That guy is an agricultural extension officer. I want to have him in my government. Let me tell you, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. I am asking myself a question. As we grow in terms of civilization and development, where did our extension officers go?
Yes.
And I can tell you, I thank Kenyan farmers and I congratulate them for doing what they are doing without even advice, and they're still producing, and we're still, Kenyans are resilient. You know how many people who have qualified agricultural students or livestock, husbandry, are languishing out here when farmers don't have advice on how to do right things. So we are saying, for you to produce good crop from a particular area, we need some soil testing. Is the soil too acidic? What can grow there? Not because someone tells you something can't grow and you've not even tested. So during when we were growing, we used to see AI crashes along the road. Of course, that was then a primitive thing. You have to walk a cow to the roadside where the extension of the AI service, the inseminator will come and inseminate the cow by the roadside where there's a crasher. And that, extension officers, you need a bike for a bicycle per ward, for example, and the oxygen gas in the Mutungi for the eye officer, and people will be actually going back. And we used an ICT to have our farmers registered so that after 21 days, and please mark my word, after 21 days, the farmer, the program will twitch and create an alarm that farmer Bitok, his car was served on say like 23rd of this month. 21 days thereafter, you need to find out from that farmer where that cow is also behaving like, you know, she was properly served and now in calf, or she's still restless, which means it requires a repeat. What happens? Sometimes we do that and forget it. Remember, a whole month when a cow is not they're not served and in calf, you're losing milk. Because there's 1 month which you expect a cow to calve down, it doesn't, and as you continue lactating, the production goes down. What we are saying here is the extension officers who are here, educated, you know, need to be given those responsibilities. By the way, make it attractive and let it pay. In one of the consultancies I did in Western, after I left Parliament, I also did consultancy with the GIZ on why do people look down upon agriculture. We realized, one, there is no motivation. Two, we don't do it smart. Three, it is not pay. And four, it is untidy, because even the farmers themselves, when you look at them, they are not dressed well. But how do you dress well when you are sweating the whole day in the farm and you are paid less than what you put into to produce? So with the extension officers, we shall now do it more scientifically, and then the production will be higher, and then there will be some money in the pocket of our people. The extension officers is critical. We need to revive them. If they are not there, I'm sure they are there, but also again, are they motivated to do what they are doing? And what are the benchmarks? What are the the outputs? How do you measure their performance in the field? For example, that program, if we introduce that program, it will report that how many cows have they served that have succeeded. If the result is 50%, that's an incompetent farmer must go home. When that happens, you're somebody suffering at your incompetence. And I think you can tying ICT and extension officers and technology, we can move mountains.
Farming. All right. Okay. Now, I think we switched to Siasa kidogo. And there's something that happened yesterday. There's a meeting that was convened by Interior CS Fred Matiang'i, Garanja Kibicho, that is the PS as well under the same docket, and Martha Koome under the chairmanship of Martha Koome. And I'll read a post by Dr. Fred Matiang'i. And it's like, led by our chair, Lady Justice Martha Koome, the National Multi-Sectoral Consultative Forum for Elections Preparedness moved to adopt the coordination and collaboration framework prepared by the Technical Working Committee for the Conduct and Management of 2022 elections. The work plan outlines the legal areas of collaboration by the various MDS involved in the national exercise, formalized channels of information and sharing, resources planning to eliminate losses in the duplicate roles. I can see Fred Matiang'i, I can see the AG, Kiara, I can see Karanja Kibicho, I can see Fred Matiang'i as well. I am seeing a couple of civil servants. And this is a committee that apparently is supposed to oversee the general elections in 2022. I don't know what you're feeling, how you're feeling it.
You talk, I'm a worried man. And my worry is not unfounded. My brother and a good friend of mine, Dr. Engineer Kibichu, did say, me and Matiang'i will play politics. If you think you're aggrieved, meza wembe, ama utafute mtu wa karibu tukupe kama ujinyonge. And he's saying this, meaning they're ametupa, they're ametupa, jingiza kwa ring to do politics. And my brother, with tremendous respect, and I'm saying we need security, we need the court to arbitrate, we need people's lives to be taken care of. Matiang'i said the women must be protected as well as contestants, like any other men. The men are being given a space. They must be secure, and we know the need to lose lives in an electoral process. Granted, that's a wonderful thing that he must do, but it worries me when you have shown outright bias or decision on where you stand. Daktari did say in Nyamira that his candidate of choice, whether you like it or not, and he spoke in Kisii and said, tutakanyagana sawa sawa. He said it, I'm telling you. In the dungeons, tunakutana kule. In support of former Prime Minister. And I agree, my brother. And honestly, I am not saying this because I have anything personal about his position. He's a fantastic minister. He does a very, very good job, and he's delivered. On this one, honorably, he shouldn't have taken a position and then sit in a meeting that is planning how to provide security for all of us when you have taken a position of who's your preferred candidate as a minister of government. And that's why the constitution detached civil servants from politics. And if you want to run to politics, you resign. I am praying that Matiang'i and Kibichu can develop those frameworks. At the point of 9th of February, they need to leave office and come and play politics. We say we want to play politics. Beyond that, they'll be using their offices unfairly or to the disadvantage of those ones who don't have the trappings of those powers. That's on one arm, because they have already taken their position. And they said, Meza Wemba Ukitaka. That is the arrogance, the impunity, worse than the imperial presidents we had. And honestly, these two great men, and I love them for sure. In fact, both of them are my friends. I don't know what Kenya they envisage to be with that kind of arrogance, with the state of the kind of energy, the power they have in their hands. Where will they be post these elections? When somebody says that without regard to the feelings of any other, they will want to secure the interest so that their side wins for them to be relevant. Because they know they have already shown that they don't care about anybody else except one. And it is their interest for that one to win. That worries me. And if anybody botches these elections, it is not going to be business as usual. People must steer off and Kenyans decide their leaders. If there's any game being played or intended to be played, let that tell them. Even God in heaven knows. And when we also proclaim to go to church and say things, let's say them when we mean them and practice what we preach. Don't preach water and drink wine. Right. Resign and go to politics. Don't do both because you're disadvantaging the others. Number two, my worry also goes to the Chief Justice. If they are the ones, she's the one to know the intricacies of what is happening, would it not then also form her opinion, either fairly or unfairly as a human being, to determine matters will be brought to court, to her courts, when everything was learned in court? So I am not too sure whether this is the right forum to do it. But again, their wisdom, if it was provided within the law, it's okay. We require the people to wait for the matters to be presented them for adjudication. We need somebody to provide security during the electioneering period, but not when you are partisan. You're going to adjudicate our matters which you have been involved in setting rules or getting to know exactly the intricacies of what is happening, some of which you may have actually decided that it goes that way. If it goes sour on the other side, how do you then determine on the other side fairly without being compromised by the standards you set, which may have not been right, because you'll not be then independent in adjudicating that matter? That is my worry on two fronts. The provision of a level playing ground or a peaceful election and adjudication is fine, but how do you separate the two? Where Matiang'i and Kibichu's interests will not lead them to take some actions, or whether the judiciary, with the lines they have drawn, will not compromise the adjudication where the matters are brought to them. It worries me from where I see it. And in fact, I also don't know why this matter should not be chaired by IEBC, who are independent.
Right. So in an event that this continues, then Are you going to proceed to the general elections in that state?
Let me say this. The Constitution states that there shall be an election on 9th of October, or of August. And I can tell you, nothing will stop. Sometimes there has been...
so you'll not be bothered about the integrity of those elections?
No. We are going to be outcast. That's not to say what we're going to do before we get there. But I believe that anybody who is in his right senses knows that it is not going to be business as usual. Please do what is right and do it right. Elections, Kenyans will go to the polls. The challenge will be of their expression of choice being respected. Have their votes counted? Did they do it in a free environment? Let me give you a true story about Bonchari. I was leading the campaign, the UDA candidate in a by-election, which was last.
Mama Teresa.
I can tell you, Brother Bitok, we swallowed tear gas. Kisii was like a no-go zone. A war zone. These are trucks that carries 35 in a constituency which has got about, about 4 wards. So the traffic of soldiers in Bonchari were more than the voters. And honestly, if you are perceived to be on the other side, then you are told like you are loitering and you are kind of intimidation of the uniformed people within the polling station. We also witnessed even the officers presiding over watching people coming to bribe voters because they belong to a particular side of the divide. That is not what we want as a nation. And of course, if you have your choice, can you please campaign for your choice and make them win, but do not influence Kenyans using your state office, and including the other state organs that will push people to kind of make a decision that is not their own decision. We want a free and fair elections, and truly a new president will be elected next year. And even those ones who are also exiting office, I know some of us want to worry too much about who comes in, and we have done our tour of duty. You did yours right. Please exit the stage and then the others take over.
Maliza went, even ndio mnasema. So there's a question here as well on UDA from Bruce Lee. Asking, speaking of parties, ask Mheshimiwa why they are demanding people to dissolve their parties and join UDA. I
joined UDA, but I need to dissolve my party. It's a choice.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, and I said for sure, democracy is real. It's I opted to subscribe to the thing of UDA
without dissolving PDB.
PDB is still alive. If you want, I'll give you the office of the party. It's still running. In fact, it's part of the party that are compliant to run elections, independent of OMINGO, MAGARA. That's why we need to stop people from saying, my party belongs to me. It's primitive. It's an institution, a public institution where people must also participate and express their views. And if you think you have given your duty out there, pass the mantle to the rest of them to grow. Like the young man, the person I gave who came over as a chairman, so he's a youthful guy who is running the show. How do we also mentor our people? So the party runs independent of this, so that you do not move with the party as if it's your personal property. So the parties are not being dissolved. You come in by choice. And if you want to collaborate, of course, the only challenge that happens, my brother, is if you are doing a coalition, how do you draw a line where you're not going to cannibalize each other's vote? That is the only challenge. Yes. And I can tell you, Jubilee succeeded. The only thing they did not do, they did wrong, was to kill political parties. They should have attracted candidates and say, these are outfit, you're either in Jubilee or not out of Jubilee. And for sure, Jubilee was a very large party. I think William Ruto is trying to play back Jubilee. The difference will be, this will live beyond an election. That I can guarantee you. This movement will live beyond 10 years. Election.
Will it live beyond 10 years? Because people look at the election cycle normally is 10 years.
We have learned our lessons. I'm sure it will run beyond perpetuity. Because what happens is, it is about cannibalizing each other's vote, and then you spread thin, and somebody else you lose, and you're going to form a government where you do a bottom-up approach, and you have members who don't believe in
fragmented
that. You have a problem. So not because it's a dictatorial thing, we are persuading people to come on board, and you can see the exodus from Central Province, and many more are going to come. And I can tell you, you wait for the 9th of February 2022, we'll be having a floodgate of people flocking
in February.
When even if you moved, nobody will threaten a by-election, or if you moved, they will threaten a court case, because that's what they are doing. The carrot and the stick. Wewe governor ukisonga tutakupata. File yako utajua uyui. So in February it will be too late. Even if the case was open, it may not last beyond. It may not be terminated before August. So literally, what we are saying is we want to play back Jubilee, but I bet a Jubilee where members, and I'll pray to our partners or our team members. Let's reward loyalty to a party, right? Let's respect institutions. Let's go ideologically, and let's engage our business with ideas and not personal vendetta. That will grow the party beyond today. In fact, in 2007, there was NAC and ODM. Trust you me, we're almost getting to a two-party state where you like a Democrat and Republican. But what did we do? When we elected, we had to be talking in the takataka. Mshafika kwa office, Machiavellian principle. You can't place your own children in the party. In terms of democracy, you can't even say a thing. Because that party now is perceived to be owned by somebody. That's why I hate the business of people saying they own parties. Because then the regardless doesn't care. They don't care what you contribute. It is after all, you made it happen, and high table. Therefore, you can pick the makombo ya chakula ikiwa chini kameza kama utaipata, usipoipata, take a walk. That's why some of us took a walk, some of our political parties, which we believed in and formulated. But this one I believe, and I want to pray that let it go beyond election and to perpetuity. And it's possible if it's rallied around an ideology. Yeah.
Okay. So there are people who would say, well, I have my party. I'm not ready to leave it. I'm not ready to, but I believe in ideology of Hustler Nation and the bottom-up economic model and UDA. And I would want to come with my party. Is it possible?
The challenge will be, how do you feel, candidate? That's the only thing. If there was a formula of agreeing, field candidates, and of course, it brings a complication. Okay. We are, and that's how sometimes you find these coalitions also do not work well. What do you do? But there's also a post-election coalition. If you believe in us and you want to partner with us and you've got MPs, why don't we work together post facto, that we know that you believe in us and you subscribe and we do a partnership. Now, if you do it today, it means therefore you feel that MP here, I feel another one. These are people who believe in the same ideology. Your vote will be 50-50. The one who takes 50 divided by 2, if you say like votes were about 30,000 votes. You do yours, your vote is 10,000, a combination of yourself. The other guy, third, fourth, will have 10 and they will beat you. The only problem is how to secure splitting of a vote to cause a loss.
Okay. All right. And talking also about political alignments and political coalitions. Yesterday, Martha Karua, Musalia Mudavadi, and a couple of other guys had a meeting, the Hawker team. They had a meeting with Martha Karua, and they're formulating a union. And the question has been, the deputy president has stayed away from conversations on coalitions. And in Kenyan politics, it's almost clear that elections have been won through coalitions.
Does
that not pose a danger for the deputy president?
No, but you see, remember, they won election on Jubilee. There was no coalition.
There was a coalition between URP
there was no. Yes. They collapsed into one. But of course, there is an area where I know, and I think that is also was a special case where the current UDA was in a coalition that was realized too much late in the hour to kind of secure the fallout that had been seen. Of course, it's good to do that, but if you do a credible nomination, we don't expect fallout. The UDA that came in that is already the party in a coalition Jubilee was actually as a result of a little fallout, which of course came because of the learning experience. But if you do it right, I'm sure you don't expect that to happen. And the challenge we have here is, as I said, is only about nomination. And yesterday I did see, because we have not discussed with our boss, that he was open to discussing with other people, but he could be discussing with them with an arrangement which could also include them joining us. So the boundaries of the discussion, of course, again, remember, nobody can run away from any engagement that can extend your margin. So I'm not too sure whether that is a factual thing that I read, that he gave an olive branch that we can share and engage. And let's wait and see. But for now, we don't have any coalition framework agreed within the party.
Okay. All right. So if elections were held today, the president will go it alone as a candidate?
Of course, you remember, people who are used to doing things the same way, expect different results, wanted to bring in BBS so they can do the coalition of sorts through the back door. When it failed, I think you realize
they're still hangover.
They've gone to the drawing board, and they're still trying meetings, and we wish them well. I'm told Wiper did their NEC yesterday to endorse their candidate, and many more are going to do, so that they can all be in the same classroom to be able to compare their notes and see who goes to grade next grade. Their coalition is okay. It's welcome. Maybe it can make a difference. And why not? Politics is about strategy also. If your strategy works for you, fly with it. We talk.
The strategy works for you, fly with it. All right. Okay. Kisii. Sometimes last week, or is it this week? Or sometimes this week, last week, there was a meeting in Kisii, and they said there was a meeting by the Kisii elders from Kisii County, where you come from. You're running to represent them. And they have requested the president to help them replace Matiang'i or to replace the deputy president with Fred Matiang'i.
I didn't expect to bring that.
Wakisii mumekaa chini mkasema
tumeaibika kidogo kwa kweli. Lugangwa, Bitok, you put me on the spot. Anyway, that is not the leadership where I participated in. Remember, they said, led by my senior, Jimmy Ongwenyi, who was leading that. They said they met in Safari Park, not in Kisii, in fact, but in Safari Park. And part of the agenda is that they were discussing matters to do with the NEC, the NDC, which was
Jubilee NDC,
which is essentially for 30 years.
Yes.
That's at that time. And then they were anticipating debate, and I know it's also criminal to anticipate debate, unless the minutes were circulated, that the resolutions were to be, one of them was to sack William Ruto, and therefore a replacement be given. And honestly, they paint us in a very bad light. That you're seeing somebody's hand, somebody's walking, and you see your hand, you think the hand is falling,
waiting for
so
it to
you're
fall.
waiting to fall.
Have dinner.
Actually, to be honest, we appeared fairly and tidy, to be honest.
Okay.
Now, my brother, whom they're touting to replace Matiang'i, Ruto, is actually a civil servant. I don't know how they wanted him to do this. I don't know even whether he's a member of this party, because I'm aware also he's a party he was trying to create some times ago. So one, I don't know how they wanted to achieve that. And two, they talk, Matiang'i, my brother, was supposed to be a presidential candidate. Recently, Nyamira, that's when he chose to. Raila told us that he saw that the bush was too dark. He couldn't get venture. So Raila told us he'd want podium.
Yes.
That we will now, the bush was too thick. Matiang'i saw it was difficult, so he has given me a baton. And he confirmed, this is my candidate. And therefore, the hope I had liberating Kisii in terms of getting a candidate from our region was dampened. And therefore, he became a supporter, like I'm supporting William Ruto. Therefore, at the same level. But maybe he realized that is too small. I don't know whether he was aware of this, and if he was aware of this, I think it's also very bad. It also paints him in very bad light. And you want also to take somebody's property when he's alive. You are like your children want to to inherit
you
when you are alive. You know, it came out very bad. If he was participated, I think if I were him, I would say, yeah, I did not send them, so to clear your name. He looks actually very untidy. Now that maybe if he did it, I'm imagining if he did it, it looks like therefore he's so like being a spectator like MUGIRANGO MAGARA is different. He wants to be in a position before the next elections. But now, unfortunately, it has also backfired. President Unye has given him a white bath. Amesema hiyo something haitakuwa, you know,
anasema ni mambo yenu.
Hiyo jamaa hiyo nafikiri nitakuwa na ajenda kubwa. Now you see, you are celebrating mkono bado haijaanguka.
It's still swinging.
And I don't know, and these are our elders. I mean, with tremendous respect, and honestly I respect them, but sometimes also carry that respect with you in terms of delivery or whatever you pronounce, and you know it makes you look nicer, and then with a lot of wisdom. So Sasa, I don't know what other thing they're going to, with the flop of the NDC, I don't know what other trick Madiang is going to play with his supporters to put him in a position that is closer to presidency, which he was starting to do, but it was too thick to get to the forest. And that's what I was thinking, if it was possible, if your heart is in politics, come to the ring bwana, we share this.
Ingia hapa.
Njoo mazee tunyoroshane. Sasa unajua sasa unakaa kwa fence unambia kaenda sema nataka mvua hii. Mkono haijaanguka. Unataka aje sasa jamani.
So you are daring Matiang'i to join Siasa.
But it's a democracy in Sawa. Honestly, and I know you can win some if you can win some seats, and why not? Because you see, hii kitu sio rahisi daddy. Lakini until you try it, utajua ile joto iko ndani pale. The only a few who can survive that for 3 terms, and unapigwa na kata unapanga bado unaenda unakimbia. So that was a very unkind, and on behalf of our community, I want to apologize that we were inheriting our fathers before he goes. It's a casual state of affairs, and I'm actually embarrassed. Yeah,
embarrassed.
The only thing that I was not part of it. On behalf of the community, I'm a little embarrassed.
You're embarrassed. You're deeply embarrassed on behalf of the Kisii community. Now, there's something I want to ask you as well. From this conversation of impeaching or removing the deputy, even before you go to its possibility, the conversation of removing the deputy president has been there since 2018, especially post-handshake. It's a conversation that even immediately after handshake, MPs from ODM were saying, now, we have the numbers to impeach him. And the first motion that we're going to move in the National Assembly was to impeach the deputy president. It's a conversation that has been going on. Handshake has come, BBI has come, it has fallen. We are now a few months to the general elections, and the conversation still somehow keeps going. And President Uhuru Kenyatta, interestingly, has continued pulling some cards under the table for the members of Jubilee Party. I would want to know, you are a politician, you've been in politics some time. Is the president strategic, or is just gambling with this thing? Does he know what he's doing? Because look at the NDC. It was all over the newspapers, the media, the dates were there. I'm sure he was aware as well. Then suddenly he appears and says, no, we are not having an NDC.
Remember,
what is the president trying to do?
When Tuju came out to talk about NDC, he said he's going to consult the head of state, who is very busy to allocate a date. Is thereafter the date was set, meaning they discussed. Please, I am not also competent to talk about Jubilee matters, but allow me from an observer's perspective to say something.
Yes.
That the president was consulted, because that's what, to be honest, that's what Tuju said, SSG, and the date came out. The change of heart is what I can't explain, but clearly this is not going to be there on 30th. But on the issue of impeachment of William Ruto, the unfortunate thing is that the Constitution binds it to at the hip. If you impeach Ruto honorably, it means the presidency has failed. Full stop. All of you go. I mean, if we also, if people to petition even the courts, then the government collapses. That's number one. Number two, you have expired almost everybody from committees and everything else. In fact, in that NDC, who are you going to expel? What news are you going to make to give relevance to Kenyans to when things like Jubilee is going to work up again? Right? 3, why would you also want to be embarrassed with the tail end? Because honestly, the embarrassment has been too heavy. And I think, I don't know whether somebody earns a salary to advise the president legally, because he has lost so many cases. So many cases, and I don't know why somebody somewhere sitting somewhere is actually earning a salary as an advisor of government, legal advisor of government. So if you went to deeper today, it also leave an egg in your face. It was not possible to do what they're doing in terms of impeachment. In fact, somebody is saying naively that when somebody takes over office and signs to another political party, then he loses the seat, for example. In fact, there was a case that was ruled against Obado in Migori, I mean, favor Obado in Migori. They said only two people, when they defect, they cannot lose their offices. The president and the governor. That case has not been challenged. So as we speak today, even if he was resigned, I can tell you, that case still stands. Even if the president even resigned today and took another party, there wouldn't be an impeachment. He wouldn't have lost his position. Those are only two cases. But I think it's also they carry extremely sensitive positions and executive functions which cannot stop because of the fact of their officers. So I think it is a zero-sum game. Maybe they read that judgment, said even if William, luckily now, even UDA is a coalition partner
of Jubilee.
Yeah, the major leader of Senate is a member of the UDA Reformed. So it is a zero-sum game, and I think they're trying to stop embarrassment. And sometimes I think, to be honest, these members are tiring our president. You know, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is a fine gentleman. You know, I worked under him. He's a fine gentleman, to be honest. I think they're also overwhelming him with a small request. Daddy, where do you leave us? Where do you go? How do you want us to survive? Please, learn to live on your own. Uhuru is going home. Why do you bother him every time? Try to fix so-and-so for so-and-so. The president is going home, and for sure, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, in his presidency, he has done his mark. This is not in vain. Yeah, in their first time, they do wonderful things. And we shall go in history remembering him for doing a SGR in here. You know, there are a few things that have not been done, of course, courtesy of the change of heart in midstream of the term. But I can tell you the president has done his bit. He has done his tour of duty. Respectively, we need to honor him in his space. Some of us hanging on his jacket to let us survive tomorrow. Please, jitegemee boss.
Jitegemee.
Kila mtu ajisimamie bwana. Sababu sasa if you that's the problem, wanting to be probed every time. If somebody removes the probe, you go down like a banana bunch. Jisimamie jo. Mambo
nikubaya huko
ground tofauti. Because that's why I think the president said, I don't want to waste my time on this. Maybe it will come, but because again, I think somebody's being cheated somewhere here. You know,
and that's what I wanted to know.
I think I don't know.
Is the president playing games?
No,
Someone is being played.
No, the president is above tricks. He's those who want to survive, who want to maintain relevance. Our president, I think, is more smarter to be used. Okay. So those ones who want to survive, they have to say, you know, I can still pull a shot. So for them to be feared. Time is, and actually the window is shutting so quickly. What if I was some of us, is to say, yes, let it be. We have done our best. We have tried. This thing has failed. BBI is actually on his deathbed. We somebody talk about it was in the Supreme Court. He's in deathbed. Come to reality and do things differently. We are being administered by the current constitution, which binds the president and deputy on the hip, and they are going nowhere, both of them, until they hand over the baton to the president.
Right. Okay.
There shouldn't be a vacuum in the executive
until there's an handover. All right, so let me ask you a question as well, Mheshimiwa. You've talked about the constitution holding or joining the president and the deputy president at the hip, and they're not going anywhere until their term elapses. The question is as well is in the opposite true as well, that the failures of government is also shared responsibility for the two candidates? We've seen the deputy president distancing himself from the failures of Jubilee government, especially on the second season of Jubilee, the 5 years that we've been running from 2018. If then it is true that the deputy president should be protected by the constitution because they are held at the hip and they both are not going anywhere until expiry of their term, isn't it true then that the deputy president carries the blame and the failure?
Two things play out, Bitok. One, the role of the deputy president is to advise the president. What the president does with the advice is not his business. Number one. The principal advisor, and he is assigned duties to do. And when they are taken away to somebody else, you don't complain. You take a walk and sit back. If you are reading a newspaper, read a newspaper until evening and get paid. Number one. Number two, Vito,
Soma gazeti mpaka jioni.
Alafu,
Upate mshahara.
because that's what
You have to survive.
the president is supposed to be advised. Is advised by the deputy. If they take that advice or not, that is a different
up to
story
them.
for us to for another day. Two, I'm not heard him say that Jubilee has failed.
Okay.
Actually, and indeed, even if you are blind, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and William Uruto,
Yeah.
they delivered the first term because of there was maybe little advice that was being taken, or there was partnership, there was people were in harmony as they were working. Unfortunately, we changed our goalposts. We realized suddenly that hiko kitu natakiwa kubadilisha katiba. And did you know, we thought like we now are shaking hands to harmonize Kenya, remove the tension, and walk beyond the elections when nobody is fighting the other.
Okay.
Little do we know that the major agenda was to change the constitution. Do you know how much money has been spent? Do you know how many meetings have been held in Bomas? It was never even budgeted for. It was not in the program. And it was being pushed down the throat. Chiefs were collecting signatures by force. Honestly, it was dirty from the very beginning. And and I'm worried about who then pays taxpayers' money that went the drain, and there was no budget. Where did that money came from, I don't know. Where the committee of experts, they call them, those ones who are elders, committee of elders.
The elders.
The council.
Anyway, the council of elders.
Yeah, those ones who went to collect views. They were being paid. They were spending money in hotels on a matter that was initially flawed. So what we are saying, my brother, is that it is true there was diversionary thought the second term. And if you list at what they did in the first term, it was perfect indeed, extremely. And it's tangible, you can see. What I have not realized in here is courtesy of the sideshows we were put to in the third, and for sure, the last 3.5, 4 years, it has been only a game of musical chairs, dancing on the spot, on the same matter. You're saying this thing called dance from Jamaica must fly. No. God in heaven knows that the courts stood in the gap for Kenyans when even Parliament sold us for a song. When a Senate, a person who opposes the debate in Parliament goes to judiciary to defend the same thing. You speak from two sides of your mouth. Are you a bird or a mammal?
Popo.
That's why we worry too much, and I thank God it happens. So I'm not saying that Jubilee did not do, and I'm not saying blame the deputy president. He has told us that his business was to advise the president. That he has done. What the first time they did when they were in harmony, it was done. Again, you should ask now the designate prime minister who is overseeing project where Jubilee has not delivered, if at all. But so far on record. And you can hear they're not even, on the blues. Road this, road that. The connection of power from 16,000 to 120,000 people, from 70,000 to 200,000 people. These TTIs were built. They did the work. What was left was courtesy of interruptions. Your guess is as good as mine where the interruption came from.
All right. My guess as good as mine. It's also the seventh devolution anniversary. Is it the seventh? It should be the seventh anniversary of devolution, and you're having the seventh conference of on devolution in Makueni County. And you talked about cottage industries. Yes. There's something I would like you to try, and you'll tell me what you think.
Because I don't try before I know.
If that is
dried
fruit,
mango. Oh my!
I am mango fruit.
Oh my!
I want you to have a test.
Oh my! This is what we can do for bananas. Oh my goodness!
Bwanje usikia. Alafu usikia ndizi ya Kisii kikaushwa.
This is Makueni?
So this sweet tunda. This is dried mango, real mango, 100% natural. Some sweet tunda. It comes from farmers, smallholder farmers, who get to supply the company that does the dried naturally for your.
Which company? Which country is this?
It's Kenyan. 100% Kenyan.
Which county?
Matunda inatoka Kenya yote, Makueni, Ukambani, wapi.
yeah.
Mahali kuna
Yeah, I thought-
mango.
You're saying it's one county.
No, it's not one county. Nasikia namna gani?
Can I tell you?
Talking about Cottage.
Zero, I mean, almost minimal capital.
Yes.
The value of a farmer here, or the value of this product, is about 100 times what it would have sold raw. And this is what I'm talking about: banana, banana crisps, banana powder, drying and crushing, packaging. You know, some Cerelac equivalent of children food. The other guys get from Europe. They get from Argentina. Look at their sauce right here because it's near around here. I saw today also, surprisingly, I don't know, Madam Mugiru has done some work.
Yes, that's what
You can also talk about anything
I'm looking for
I saw shoes. I saw honey.
pharmaceuticals.
I saw juice. So pharmaceuticals.
There's wine.
It is being displayed in Kitui.
Yes.
I am not too sure what we are displaying from Kisii. I am waiting. I may want to see the stand of Kisii. And can I tell you, my brother, this is not, even if you are to package this, it will not cost you 20 million to a whole processing plant. And you told me it's being dried
Yes, that's right.
manually.
Kabisa.
And
What do you think about it?
it's
How is the test?
Can I get more?
How is the test? Yes, we're having an umpire here. The umpire is going for 1,000 shillings. The umpire is going for 1,000 shillings. It comes with granola as well, natural granola, a mix of nuts and some dried fruit as well. Very beautiful granola. And
can I borrow from? If you told me where they are located, I can.
Yeah, I have some stock here. It's only 1,000 shillings, so you can get maybe around 10 ampers.
I need to promote this because we need to reward them.
Yes, and
for
every shilling goes to the farmer.
Beautiful.
Every shilling will end up getting to the farmer. And you see this premium product. Amazing.
Kenyans
product.
need an enabling environment and it will support we shall be Israel in the Kisii. I promise you.
So tutakuwa na ndizi kama
oh
hivyo.
my goodness, ndizi, avocado, passion fruit. Passion fruit in abundance. And then sugar cane. Horticulture, manago. No, we'll be having a variety. I think
But you like the product. How does it taste?
Yummy.
It's amazing.
I love it. And it's
Tamu
natural.
kabisa.
It's natural.
Very natural.
It's natural.
100%. No added
natural
sugar.
and healthy. This is the brain of Kenyans. And there are many more Kenyans like this out there who have not been given the capacity and knowledge to do this. They will do.
They can do more. Hi. Thank you. For only 1,000 shillings, you can have your sweet tunda amper. That it comes with a granola and some dried food as well. Your healthy way to live. Ukikula your breakfast. You know, these days people don't want to eat lunch, so you can just carry this.
Jesus,
Because you cannot carry mangoes in your pocket.
So
You can carry.
and it's not perishable anymore
Yes.
now.
It's not perishable.
This is now the trick to giving, honor or human face to a farmer. Can I tell you, I saw one young girl carrying avocados to the market. From where we live is a hilly place, so they're all down to the market, and they can't sell. You can imagine a little girl. The best she could do, she couldn't carry those things uphill, and it took barabara. Umba zinakula avocados usiku. I'm telling you.
Ingekausha ingekuwa kwa
Amazing.
kukula. How many sweet
Wana
ones?
Sarah.
Gavana bana cheza kama yao.
And people,
Ukifika cheza kama
the
yao.
farmer will then determine the price. That's the sweetness about this.
Cheza
Like
kama
now
yao.
milk, we know tulikataa kupatia wakulima the facilities to infrastructure to cool their milk, so that quickly when we want it, we tell them bring all you have at this price, and farmers will run like a god who has now saved them from wastage, and the saving is basically a quarter of the price of production.
Sad.
Dehumanizing, and the God will pay some of us in our generation.
Haya. Basi governor ukifika pale cheza kama wewe. Now there's a question from Doz. Actually, this was an open and that question. In addition, ask Mheshimiwa as a leader, it was about the Devolve conference. Coincidentally being the 7th Devolution conference, what is honorable brief assessment on the state of devolution as at now? What is the state of devolution at the 7th year?
Devolution was a good thing. Some counties have worked. And I've given an example of I saw it on social media. I've not been to that forum. there is Makueni has actually worked. We know what they have done. Some governors have worked. To be honest, it is again, the school is as good as the headmaster.
Okay.
I don't want to blame devolution, wholesome. I assess devolution individually. Devolution was a panacea to most of our problems, but unfortunately, in some counties, we devolved corruption. Where you find I can do a project draw it on paper, right? So approve it on paper, design the project on paper, and pay it on paper. Similar to eating an egg, a chick, and a hen. Therefore, you have no species left for the future generation. That's how immoral it is. I am not saying I have evidence to that effect, but you see, in some counties, the difference is as good as day and night.
Yes.
For example, I was involved in establishing a revenue agency for one of the counties in Western, Kakamega to be precise. And instead of revenue leaking, we set up an agency, which is a quasi-government body, that would then empower, rather give the staff of that agency a better pay package beyond any civil servant pay, and there are bit of facilities are attached to them for them to produce more, like a motivational thing, making them different from government. I can tell you, in the same year, revenue doubled, right? There is so much we can do with this devolution. But again, even in some counties, you find even the revenues which have been collected during the municipal time are now lower than then. Right? So you wonder why, which instead of growing the revenue base, it's actually declining. So devolution is a perfect thing that what happened. It's actually something that we need to encourage. And when somebody says that when we are opposing the BBI that we were against devolution, it's a joke. The Constitution says, I'm an accountant and a numbers man. When somebody says something should not be less than 15, it can be 100%. So make it 100 because the door is open. So people say like we also oppose devolution. The fact is that it was a window to omnibus to carry other things of people appropriating their positions, top positions of leadership. But I can tell you, devolution worked. In some areas, it has done magic. You lose factories, small-scale industries are doing great things. I saw in Meru, Kiraitu has got some factory that's teaching either with height and skin or something. Yes. That is what we want. And I'm wondering, what do some counties exhibit today to tell them that devolution is functional, devolution is dead? Devolution is fantastic, but assess every county by looking at the principle of the school. Okay. You're producing these. I don't blame the kids. I blame the principal for not setting infrastructure to let them read.
The syllabus is good. All right.
The execution of a syllabus is dependent upon individual managers.
All right, and finally, what do you expect from the president's address, the State of the Nation address that's coming up? What are the expectations? Should be is it the 10th?
30th.
It's the State of address, the State of the Nation address number ngapi? Should be the 10th.
I think it should be the
no, it's coming 9th, on 30th.
It should be a 9th because I think he's doing his third term, last term. So he should have added the last one next year. So it should be 9th.
So it should be 8th. All right. And what do you expect from the State of the Nation address?
Ndugu Bitok, the most sensational presidential address was that particular one he read, the list of shame. And he was going to be impatient with any graft manenos. But what happened is the answer is as good as yours, mine. But I am also hoping that he will come out now with more serious issues of what his legacy will be. And if I were him, I would not worry too much about who comes in. I would now dedicate the last few months to opening key to projects which I had commissioned. I remember when Deputy President was relieved of his duties as supervisor of government functionalities and projects, every minister was given clusters to supervise some projects. And they were in a frenzy. I think they took per diem out there. Me, I thought the frenzy of inspecting them should have been the same frenzy of opening them. I've not seen them open. Can, if possible, let him now showcase the bit, and some work was going on, he need to unlock the flagship project he started before his term, before end of his term. But two, I hope he's going to also say that Kenyans, I want to leave you united. And I found more than I found you. I would expect him to say that I am not dividing Kenyans by taking a position who becomes a president next year. I will expect Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to extend an olive branch even to his deputy, which is more we're willing to do, and that he should. Perhaps it would bring out the fact that we did a magical thing in 2013 by even having people who are warring factions voting together. That magic, Uhuru can give it to us as he leaves office. And it is only in his preserve and his domain and his pronouncement and his action that is going to bond this country. If this continues the same way, and remember, even senior government officers are defying court orders.
Yes.
We don't want to bring this country into anarchy. He should also tell us, and I'm sure he will clarify some of the things Kenyans have been worrying about. It is good to have a military, in civilian uniforms, doing civilian jobs. Meaning, let's say, like, you don't trust the people who democratically elected you to deliver the mandate, but you've given to, which is okay. Because,
in a civilian government.
Yeah, it's okay because maybe the facilities they have, which were meant for war, the machines are getting old before they fight any war. So they can use those cranes and whatever to flatten the Uhuru Park and all. But please assure us what you really mean when you want to replace every civilian with the army. And they should confirm, so that the fears are removed, that by February, when they gave them a benevolent term to help Nairobi, they will go. And maybe from the major installations they have already taken over, you should get back to civilian government, because we gave Uhuru was given a civilian government. KMC is okay, they're trying to collect beef. Now they have trained the civilians how to do the job with the military precision.
Now they can go back.
He can go back to base, because then we don't have to be scared about what the intentions will be, so that he gives us back the country in a civilian platform. Then we are safe, because you see, he is a commander-in-chief and his orders are still there. Now, before the other commander-in-chiefs come to kind of construct them, it may be a bit of exposure. That gap may be an exposure to us as Kenyans. We want him to terminate those commands, because it's now him who has the pronouncement to do. He will help us a lot, because, to be honest, when you say you want to know who comes in, and you have somebody right here who's doing what you would have done, it worries all of us. You need to come out on that and tell us, guys, look at what NMS has done, look at what what NMS, the military in uniform have done. They've done a fantastic job, I agree. But again, that's not their core
There's
business.
a place they belong.
They belong somewhere else. That's why you saw the court saying, no, don't bring uniform money in the cabinet. They scare people, because there's a civilian. In fact, why Myanmar in Asia is in turmoil is that they have about 51% military and 49% civilian. The country is not at peace. So please, President Uhuru, and he's a brilliant gentleman. I can tell you by history. I've worked with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. He's a fantastic and a very sociable person. You can never hate Uhuru Kenyatta when you engage him.
You can never hate him.
No, you can't hate him. But again, I am saying the problem kuna watu wanamsumbua tu. Tuondolee hii.
Watu
Na
wamemzunguka.
wale wengine wanasema tumeze wembe, tafadhali tusiongee lugha kama hiyo ni ya poison watu. Ni mbaya.
But Kenya from the UK, Bitok 100 grams of cashew nuts cost 120 shillings in the UK. A small package of dried mangoes cost 400 Kenya shillings.
Serious?
The market value added farm products is huge, and Kenya should take advantage of this.
Amen.
Right, that's a guy from the UK. John Misoko, watching Mheshimiwa Honorable Omingo Magara. Naona nani mwingine hapa pia. Celio Mondi, I love the spirit in him. Homa Bay County Peace Network chairperson. Ngeno Jerry, Honorable Magara is politically matured. Wish him all the best in 2022. Victor Gebet is a great farmer. Ask how he started his dairy business. I think he started with that. Kimaro with his great insights from Magara, especially on matters agriculture. Kenya has the potential to feed itself and others with modernization of agriculture and employing our youth with various skills such as ICT.
Can I pause on that? That gentleman has spoken. We are actually an agrarian economy. Brother, I shed tears one afternoon, not one evening, when we had news broadcasts of three scenarios in Kenya. Please listen to this. Actually, I was emotionally moved, and it hurts. And we have a functional government that knows as intelligence and knows what is happening where. In one spot, that evening, I think either that day or a subsequent day, it was, I think, in quick succession. It was about 48 hours in between. The news was coming into newsrooms. In Northeastern, people were dying of starvation.
Yes.
I don't know whether you saw this.
I saw it. But I know it's still happening.
Now, what they are mirroring now there, in Kitale, lorries were about 10 kilometers came in to deliver cereals to National Cereals and Produce Board.
Lining up.
Please, Bitok, hear me for once. I know you don't care about what I'm saying, but for this one, you must hear me.
Okay.
About trucks,
Hundreds of trucks
on a 10-kilometer range, queuing to deliver cereals, maize to Kenya Cereals and Produce Board. They can't buy. And they are delivering that at about 2,800 shillings per bag. In fact, less than 3,000.
Right now it's 2,400.
Now, it's 2,400, yet the input for dairy cows is to, that 2,400 works to about 60,
Right now, today, per kg of maize, they are paying 25 shillings.
25 shillings. Now, listen, hear me, Bitok. Maize jam, the husks for cows, they're selling at 27 shillings.
Per kg.
I swear. West is being so. That's the imbalance and the inequality we want Kenyans to be get rid of. Now, let me finish my story. Now, a day later, that time I think Mwang Kyujin was Minister for Agriculture. They waited for famine to be declared Northeastern. Immediately they commissioned an emergency procurement procedure. Bitok, they went and brought in maize from Uganda at 6,000 Kenya shillings per bag. Then you tell us what? That you work with the fear of God? Your farmers are languishing to deliver what they have produced, their sweat, at 3,000 less. You go for double. Somebody was waiting for a state of emergency to circumvent all the procurement procedures and bring maize from Uganda at double the price. Shame on ourselves.
Okay.
And the punishment from God will not spare them, I can tell you.
Shame on us. It's been a pleasure having you, Mheshimiwa, and I wish you all the very best. We continue this passion for the people of Kisii. And in the next, in 2024, I'll give you 2 years. I'll call you back again here so that you can tell us what you've done in your first 2 years.
I am not bragging talk, but please also pray for me. And I'm glad that you started with a word of prayer, that we also get God's favor as we do. Sometimes we talk, and it's true. There's this human nature that somebody, like Peter, remember Peter of the Bible? When he was walking in water, he was feeling so sweet. Then he turned around and say, "Is Bitok seeing me that I'm flogged?" He started thinking, "Pray for me to look up
that
where
is
my
stay
favor
on your
comes
course.
from.
All right,
So I'm
we'll
the
pray
same
for you.
course.
Thank you so much for coming in. And the people of Kisii, I hope you've heard what Mheshimiwa said. And as well on national politics and national issues, you've had the wisdom of Mheshimiwa James Omingo Magara. And we hope to see you again very soon. All the very best in your venture. And the Kenyans and those guys in Kenyans in diaspora and also locally who have been with us on YouTube and Facebook. It's been a pleasure having you. Wish you all the very best as well on this Wednesday. And see you again tomorrow on the Diaspora Edition. The guys in diaspora led by Joel Arama, and the chairmanship of Joel Arama will be live tomorrow in the morning right here as well. Will be joining us virtually. So, I mean, see you again tomorrow.
The talk diaspora, please say hello to them, but they're great people.
You can actually join them tomorrow, by the way, because it's via link. You don't have to come to the studio.
And they're lovely people. Yes. Those are the guys who are supporting us in Kisii. And I want to promise them, please tell them, but I will share with them tomorrow if you give me.
And it's actually led by your son, Joel Arama.
That is what I want. Please don't leave me out on this.
I'll send you a link.
One thing I'm saying is, when I used to go to the States, they took care of me well. They're lovely, those guys. In fact, they made then the captain of us, Raila Odinga, respect me a lot. Although much later he didn't see value in me and they kicked me out. But my people gave me value for him to recognize me, and we delivered Kisii 80% to him that time.
Too bad.
Bravo to those guys. And by the way, anybody from states, whatever, or diaspora who comes in, particularly from America, I'll spare everything else to address them because I know how valuable they are. Number
so
two,
tomorrow you
let me
have
finish the talk. They are feeding our people. They what money they rake into the county is impossible. And I want to promise them, I'll have to give them a bank that where they also shareholders in Kisii, where they can also get their dividends, a local diaspora bank out there. And I also I'll tell them to get involved in politics, because it's politics that makes decisions. We want one of their own to even sit in their county assembly to make decisions on that affects the diaspora guys. But tomorrow you can invite me.
Haya, diaspora mmesikia, we'll send Mheshimiwa the invite link tomorrow so they can have a conversation with them. Joel Arama uko na mgeni tayari, kwa hivyo panga watu wako wa diaspora kesho muweze kufanya mazungumzo yenu ya ugaibuni and ensure that you are part of the conversation that goes on in the country. DK Mabwe anasema Omingo Magara, DK Cheboy Omingo is a brilliant guy. Blessed Frank Ted discussion GB. I wish Honorable Magara all the very best. I like the passion and emotional attachment of the Honorable Magara on issues of agriculture. Better days are coming. Sure, better days are coming. We only pray for him that he can stick to the course. See you again tomorrow. I'll not be there. So may you see the guys of diaspora and Mheshimiwa tomorrow led by Joel Arama. Until then, this is a tackle and it ends now. Bye-bye.